Hello, 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 and welcome everyone to the latest episode of the Idle Musings of the Nerd Mind podcast. The podcast dedicated to, I don't know, talking about stuff, about nerdy stuff, guys. That's what we're talking about today. That's what we talk about all the times, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Well, thank you all for joining us once again as we stream to you live from wherever the internet is, whatever level of hell that it exists in. And we're going to be, we have a special guest with us today. As you noticed, there was 4 of us today versus 3. So why don't we just get our introductions out of the way. Thank you guys for tuning in over on video. If you're over on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, we're now on YouTube, guys. So go hit that subscribe button. And then if you're listening to just the audio version of it, also thank you for tuning in there over on Spotify. So thank you so much. But let's get our introductions out of the way. I am once again Matt Reifschneider, one of your lovely 3 co-hosts. And over to my side over here, I pointed the right way today. I've got the lovely
with
Stephanie.
Practice.
I know, with
Hey,
practice.
guys.
Yeah.
With practice. Hi, Steph.
Welcome back, hey. Steph. Welcome back. And down below me, I've got the wonderful
Richard Williams. Hello.
All right. Welcome, Rich. Welcome, Richard Williams. And then over on his side, we have a very special guest for you guys today. And we have the lovely
John Handem Piette. Happy to be here today.
Welcome to the group, John. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. You know, anytime that I have, the pleasure of being, accompanied by nerds, my fellow nerds, I'm in a good place. So happy to be here.
We're so excited to have you on, and we know you have a lot to talk about, and I'm sure we're going to ask you a bunch of questions as we start our discussion rolling. But I want to get to know you a little bit first, and I want you to kind of introduce yourself to our listeners. So first of all, what is the nerdiest thing about you?
The nerdiest thing about me, my God. I'm just a big film nerd, film is probably my number one love, I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt, if you can see that. So I don't know if that gets me into the club or not, but I'm a big Star Wars fan, and as has been known, I'm a Marvel fan as well, the Marvel, cinematic universe and all that good stuff. So yeah, just if it's cinema, I'm there. And I think that's probably the biggest, nerdiest thing about me, for sure.
I was going to say, in the cinema cafeteria, being a Star Wars fan gets you into the cafeteria. Which table you sit at depends on which film is your favorite one, though.
Uh-oh.
I could get in the light level.
Film critic. Watch out for the film critic right here.
Are you kidding me? I've gotten so much hate mail over my Star Wars reviews. It's fine.
I mean, it has changed over the years. But I just, how can you not say Empire Strikes Back? It's a film,
Right.
Through. It takes itself the most seriously, and it just has a tone I don't think that has been matched. I think other films have had moments that have matched it, but not through and through,
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, I'm an Empire guy.
Empire Stan. I love it. Me too. I'm an Empire Stan. Followed quickly by Rogue One because Donnie Yen, y'all. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Did you just say damn, Richard? You're like, damn, Donnie Yen, damn.
No, I said dang it because he's gone. I love him.
Yeah, great characters, things like that. So, well, thank you once again for joining us, John. Hopefully, we'll have a little bit of fun with you tonight as we discuss some really nerdy topics and get along for the ride with it. And then, of course, we want to hear what you're up to because you're one of those classy people who actually works in film and is making things, and we like to talk to people like that. So, we will ask you some questions in a little bit, but as we always start off our episodes with, we got to know what everybody here has been watching and reading and playing this week. So why don't we kick it off with Richard down below us to kick us off. What have you been working on this week?
About to start watching Halo. I haven't started just yet. Watching Picard. Of course, I'm watching Moon Knight. And of
Best
course, Young
episode
Justice.
so far, by the way.
Really? Did
For
you?
Moon Knight.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome! I'm so happy y'all are liking it. Actually, a lot of my friends are liking it. And kind of the last thing, I found out there's a fencing school up the street from me, and I always wanted to do it. I kind of did it with stage combat in high school and a little bit in college, but I want to fence. I know I'm going to get my ass kicked though, but that's okay. That's okay. Y'all are going to be there. You're going to be laughing at me, and I'm all right with
I
that.
kind of want to do it with you. I'm not going to be laughing.
You guys,
Bring it.
Guys fence it out. I will be your largest cheerleader literally largest. I'm 6 foot, 285 pounds. It would be disgusting, but I will be there.
Lightsabering now too. So
See, you know where I'm going. You know where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to win at Comic-Con one year. I'm just.
So, if you do a lightsaber battle, do you have to make your own sound effects, or does it come with this? Doesn't matter if it comes with it. You make your own, right?
Yeah, it's pretty intense. Pretty intense sabers. I think there's actually a documentary being made now about competitive lightsaber dueling. So we're all going to know a lot more. So,
if they're filming it right now, Richard, you need to get on this. You need to start training now.
I'm on it. I will tell you this: the funniest. Who's playing Obi-Wan? It's Ian McGregor, right? He's playing Obi-Wan Kenobi right now. He when he started doing this, he used to when he was doing the lightsabers, he was making the sounds, and they had to come over and tell him, it's like, you don't need to make the sounds, dude. And he was just so embarrassed, but they had to keep reminding him. I love that. I love that too. Star.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, I think when people are shooting too, there's a lot of pew pew pew. I think I've heard stories of the pew 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 sound effect. You don't need that. You can keep the pews.
Yeah. That's later.
I was going to say, I would argue you do need that. You need the pews there. You got to we talked about method acting last week. Let's really get into this. Let's really get into it.
Method acting, the stock is falling on method acting, man. I feel like everybody's coming after method acting now. It's not a good thing to do these days, especially if you're Jared Leto.
Yeah.
I don't think it's good to be Jared Leto these days. Sometimes I feel like that might be
his co-stars. His co-stars, I feel sorry for.
His PAs, my God.
Yeah.
Following him around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's kick over to Stephanie. Stephanie, what have you been doing this week?
What have I been doing this week? We went to the movies. We saw the new Channing Tatum movie.
Oh, The Lost City?
The Lost City, which
that looks funny.
Was I feel like the first half was a lot funnier than the last half.
Okay.
It kind of went from a comedy straight to an adventure movie. But Channing Tatum, I'll admit I wasn't a fan of him before, but he's hilarious. Yeah. He is so funny, especially playing dumb. What else? Oh, okay. So I don't know if you guys know, but I'm a huge Expanse nerd, super nerd. Yes. I have all the books, and I know the 9th book, which is the final book, came out a few months ago, but I've been hesitant to finish it because that means then my story's over.
Uh-oh.
But I'm in it to win it. But I wanted to run this guy. I wanted to run something by you guys. So it's been 2 years in between the two books. And I feel like, just like in TV shows, books should do a recap in the beginning. Because I'm reading this book and I'm like, oh, snap. Did this happen? When did this happen?
Right.
What do you guys think?
It's a great idea. Yeah. We need the recap for sure.
We need the recap, right?
Yeah.
All about the recap.
I'm just saying, on YouTube, they have this guy, he's called the Master of Recaps. And like before you go see Star Wars or Walking Dead or whatever, he takes you through until the season. So yes, I'm a
Well, we
fan.
need him in book version for sure.
Right, there you go. There you go. On tape. On tape, because the man can talk.
I like to use Wikipedia for that, truthfully. I mean, I'm just like, I need a recap, guys. Like, you know.
I know, but I don't want to read spoilers, guys. Like,
oh, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, it's delicate. Recaps, there's an art to it, right? Like, you want to know just enough, but not enough to like spoil anything that's coming up. Because sometimes in those TV show recaps, the recap will focus on specific things where you know kind of where the show's headed, and I hate that.
Yeah, for sure. So really quick, I know I'm taking a long time, but I also saw 2 more movies. Virus 32, which was an Argentinian and Uruguay production. I think the story was a little mediocre. It's about zombies, but the directing was phenomenal. There were some beautiful shots in that movie. I would definitely watch other things that this dude's directed. I wish I remembered his name, but I don't. And oh my God, what was the name of the other movie?
Oh, we watched We're All Going to the World's Fair.
Guys, you need to see this.
What is it?
So it's basically, it's what is that called? A snap of life, or like a moment of life movie.
Yeah.
There's not really like a heavy plot, but it's basically about online gaming and the community and the people. And as a hardcore WoW player, Frel Druid for life, horde all day, all day, dude. I thought it was really interesting to seeing the dynamics of like the people that are behind the screen. And that's what that movie was about. And it kind of hit some feels. But totally recommend it. Totally recommend it.
Awesome.
All right. Now that I was long-winded.
You picked some good titles. We're All Going to the World's Fair is a really fascinating movie. It's like art house drama where you see this game exists, but you never really see the game. The game like essentially exists in the connection between people. And I think that's a really interesting kind of tackle on it for a little slice of indie cinema. So yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So all right, we're gonna kick it over to John. John, what have you been doing this week?
Just what those themes you guys were just talking about from that film, I feel like are connected to my film in some ways, but I'll talk about that later. But what I've been watching recently, so on TV, I've been watching Atlanta, which is on Hulu, and that Donald Glover and the gang. So good. This season's just been so good. I've been watching Moon Knight, but I'm behind. I still need to catch up on that. I've been watching Winning Time on HBO Max about the Lakers and the Showtime era of the Lakers. And I've been enjoying that. That's been growing on me episode to episode. But on the big screen, which I'm really excited about because the theatrical, I feel like, experience has sort of been in danger. Original cinema has been in danger. And just over the last few weeks, I've watched Everything Everywhere All at Once.
So good.
Twice now. So good. And then I just saw The Northman, Robert Eggers.
My God. I hear it's good.
Falls to the Wall Viking film. Insane. And I loved every second of it. Really good. And just feels like cinema is alive and well, there are some real auteurs out there that are really, really delivering. This year, feel like is already a pretty amazing year for film. So
Yeah.
I think that covers it for me.
Those are some good choices, though. I'm
Yeah.
dying to see The Northman. I haven't had a chance yet.
Me too. Yeah.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
Just you're not ready. You're not ready. Just go. Don't read anything.
Oh my god.
It's amazing.
All I read is it was like influenced by Conan the Barbarian, and I'm like craving Conan the Barbarian.
See?
I'm gonna buy the
gosh.
books and everything. So yeah,
Comic books are fun.
So
Conan comic books are fun. I'm just saying.
Absolutely. Well, that's awesome, John. I'm glad you were able to still go to the theaters and everything, because we are all here huge theater goers. You know, Steph and I usually go to the theaters once, if not twice a week, is usually how we try to work it out. So
yeah, that's a good amount. I'd like to do that, but it's been tough the last few weeks. But that's usually once a week is a good amount.
Yeah, just to get that support out there, especially because sometimes you wonder, as I'm seeing the numbers for the Northman kind of come in, knowing what its budget is, I'm like, oh, I hope it ekes out its budget and it's run theatrically. I'm like,
but I think that's overblown, just because I think the numbers, it got 12 million, and I think that they were worried it may come in under 10, but it's going to come to streaming on May 12th, so it's like they already knew.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Formality. I don't think they expected it to do crazy numbers theatrical, but it's going to make its money back. It's just about the content and just the art form. It's thriving, so it'll make its money back in time.
Yeah, good to hear. I know right now CinemaCon is actually going on, and there's all kinds of new posters for movies that are popping up, some interesting stuff, in honor of the new poster for the Expendables 4, because I love trashy action movies. I'm going to be drinking out of my Expendables 3 cup tonight, so you can't really see it, it's blurred out, but the Expendables 3 cup for tonight, hashtag not sponsored. So we're gonna be leaning there. I don't know. I got to interview Dolph Lundgren earlier this year, and I was so excited to have that interview with him. He was the nicest guy on the planet. So now I got to support everything. So I'm trying to think what else has been watching. Oh, you know what? I did get a chance to watch this little gem here, which is Hiroko the Goblin. This is a 91 Japanese horror comedy. It owes everything to Sam Raimi and Evil Dead 2. So if you want to see a lot of decapitated heads on spider bodies, shooting out questionable looking phallic organs out of their mouths, this is the movie for you. It is wild stuff. Big fan of it. Let's just say that. So, so we got that. And then of course, I have been on, I've actually been on a Sam Raimi kick, which is why I decided to watch this Hiroko the Goblin, because I'd heard it. It's very Sam Raimi-esque. Rewatched The Quick and the Dead this week. I'm a huge fan of that. I love Westerns.
Underrated.
That movie's so underrated. The casting and performances are just pitch perfect in that movie, and I adore it. So I want to give a shout out to that. And then, of course, kind of last but not least, I'm going to be starting a new book this week, which is My Heart is a Chainsaw. So you can see that this is by Stephen Graham Jones. I'm very excited. I love horror writing. And he's actually a Colorado guy, lives up in Boulder. So really excited to start this book. I hear great things. So we're going to kind of kick it from there. So yeah, that's kind of what we've got watching this week. Thank you guys for sharing with everything. And of course, for our audience, if you guys want to share what you've been doing this week, feel free to hit us up in the social medias over at Facebook or Twitter or YouTube. Hit us in the comments. What are you guys watching? What do you guys recommend? What should we watch? I'm debating doing a Fritz Lang kick. Since we watched Archive 81, he was wearing a Ministry of Fear shirt in it. And now I'm like thinking a lot about Fritz Lang, and I kind of want to dive into that, but that's a lot of movies. So So guys, let us know what you guys are watching out there too. So, well, thank you again, guys, for sharing that with us. And of course, we have a ton of topics we can even just start rolling into this week, all kinds of stuff. And as of today, when we're recording this, it sounds like Elon Musk is going to be buying Twitter. Now, this isn't like necessarily a media nerd thing, but this affects all of us. Like, where am I going to get my trash fire if I can't get onto film Twitter? I don't know what that's gonna be. So, what do you guys think of this? Come on, Elon Musk buying Twitter?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's hard to know what to make of it right away. To be honest,
right?
I'm in a wait and see mode, I think.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm a Twitter virgin, so
you're like,
I don't know.
Text me zero.
Pretty much.
That was me.
Zero interest.
Years ago, yeah. I feel like I'm relatively new. I feel still new to Twitter, but when my meme popped off on Twitter 2 years ago, I was just like, oh my god, I guess I've got to start using this now. Now that I have followers and stuff, but it's its own language, it's its own kind of cynical, bitter type place,
yes.
I had to learn the language of over the years, but. It's hard to know if it's going to change or if it's going to stay the same. But I feel like people, they love hate tweeting about Twitter also over the last couple of years I've been on there. So I don't know why people are complaining now because they already hated Twitter,
Right.
It's not like that they love Zuckerberg, so I don't know. It's a crazy world.
I was laughing about that because all the people that are like, I'm exiting Twitter right now are the same people that every day were like, this is a hellhole. Like, why am I here? And you're like, well, now's your chance. So now's your chance.
Right.
Yeah, right. And it's just a great purge right now. Everybody's like, I lost 1,000 followers. What is going on? And they don't know if it's just cleanup. Maybe they're doing some kind of cleanup or bot sweep, or if it's really people deactivating their accounts because they're just out. They can't do the Elon Musk thing, I guess.
Oh my god.
Elon is where I draw the line. Okay.
Elon. Of all the billionaires, that's where I draw the line. Richard Branson, he's okay. I'm drawing the line at Elon Musk.
You should talk to the people in Austin. He's out there. So
yeah.
Let's talk about the housing market and how no one can find housing out there. But I'm just leaving it right there.
I'm just gonna drop this bomb
right
and then
there.
walk away from it. Yeah, that's fair, Richard. That's fair. That's what you do. I don't know.
Boom, drop the
I was laughing because when he first kind of said like, oh, I'm going to buy Twitter and stuff like that, I made a joke online that I was like, is Elon Musk the guy who watched the James Bond film Tomorrow Never Dies and was like, that Elliot Carver guy? He definitely has got the right idea here. Media conglomerate that,
I love that you said that. I have such an affinity for that. I can't believe I didn't say that I'm also a Bond nerd, but I'm a huge Bond nerd. And Tomorrow Never Dies, I have a crazy, weird affinity for. Also, because Michelle Yeoh is just a badass in that film, and I'm a big Michelle Yeoh fan. But yeah, that's a great point. I think that movie's aging well because that villain, right, Price, he was a modern day tech giant, social media guy, right? I mean, it's aged really well in that regard, I think.
Yeah, because even when it was released, it was like, in 98, I'm not sure. Everybody was like, why would it, at that time, he's like kind of a newspaper guy, but like he's talking about he's going to take over all the satellite networks and whatnot. I don't know. It weirdly has aged well. I think that movie's underrated.
Yeah.
For sure. I actually thoroughly enjoy it. But I just was like, it's almost like I always joke that Elon Musk was borderline a Bond villain, and then he's like threatening to buy all these media things, and I'm like, I guess this is where we're going now.
Exactly.
God, I hope because he has so many resources. I mean, can you imagine all the people and driving their Teslas if they all turn into self-driving missiles or something?
That is such a Bond plot. Like it'll be a diamond-laced satellite that controls all the Teslas to be able to like. I'm like, that is such a ridiculous Bond plot. I love it so much. That's so good.
I guess the big question is he going to reinstate Donald Trump's Twitter? Right. I think that's what most people are nervous about.
Yeah.
I know. I like how he was like freedom of speech, and let's get rid of all of the people that like all of these. And you're like, whoa, hold on, guys. Like, hold on, guys. So it's gonna be it's gonna be a fun ride. I do kind of love hate Twitter. I'm on Twitter. I tweet occasionally. I've weirdly found and I'm wearing a Kung Fu shirt today from 36 Styles, but I found a lot of my Kung Fu fans and Kung Fu friends on Twitter, weirdly enough. But outside of that, like sometimes you get on Twitter and you're just like, yeah, this place, it literally is on fire at any given time. And it's how much you want to get burned by how deep you want to dig into it. But
exactly.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what the healthy amount of time to spend on it is. I don't know what you guys is, what percentage you spend on what social media platform, but I feel like I have to balance out Twitter with Facebook or vice versa. I don't know. I always feel like just a little bit more, not depressed, but just, I don't know. It brings me down a little bit, but it makes me angry.
Yeah.
And I don't know how appropriate it is to be that angry all day.
No, I feel you. I am there. Like I get onto Twitter and I'm there for 30 seconds and I'm like upset. Like I today,
So why do you guys want to use something that makes you upset?
Just today, we like to
pushing us out there.
We like to hold our feet to the fire a little bit.
I have to be careful too, because I didn't, just being still kind of semi-new to it, I don't realize how many people see my replies and stuff to people. And sometimes my girlfriend will be like, "Man, you really came after that Bob dude from Arkansas or whatever." And I'm like, "You saw that?" Like, I gotta be careful what I say because you can see everything apparently.
That's amazing. So, not that we're putting Bob from Arkansas on blast on this podcast, but all I'm saying, Bob from Arkansas, you watch out. Like, you better watch out. I love it. No, I'm the same way. There's like people that like actively get me angry, and I was laughing because like somebody on the I usually just traverse film Twitter for the most part, but on film Twitter, like somebody will make like maybe a thoughtful comment and be like, this movie has this kind of an interesting theme to it, and within like 7 replies, it's just people yelling good or bad. Like it's just like good, this movie's good, like all in caps, and this movie's bad. It's within like 7 replies.
Oh yeah, you can go down those rabbit holes, man. I don't necessarily want to go down the Matrix Resurrections rabbit hole, but there was a 3 weeks where I was just fighting people on Twitter about Matrix.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Oh, is it fighting for Matrix Resurrections or against Matrix?
Oh no!
I know. I was fighting for Matrix Resurrections.
Okay.
I was.
That's the correct answer.
That's the correct answer.
And I think it went over a lot of people's heads, and. Yeah, I had to fight the good fight for it.
Yeah, absolutely. How many people that were like, "This is not my Matrix," and I was like, "It was never your Matrix, asshole."
Thank you.
Like, I was
Thank
like,
you.
So yeah, I feel that. So I don't know. We'll see what Elon Musk can, I guess, do with Twitter. If it even goes through, I don't think it's technically been signed off yet. And there's a lot of rumors kind of going around that it's basically Twitter calling his bluff that he had actually accrued the money. And seeing if he can actually do it in the amount of time that they would need to actually make this purchase.
That's really interesting. Huh.
Yeah, I'm really curious about it. You would think that he would have that kind of flush cash, but basically there's
I don't know. That's a gangster move. Is Twitter from New York? No.
yeah. There's the 6 boroughs, right?
My God.
The 6 boroughs.
Twitter.
Open move for sure. Yeah, it's like, okay, well,
my God,
we call, we see your bet, and we call, and we're all in. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, that would be really funny. That's really funny.
I didn't realize that was a thing. I still kind of thought maybe the government will step in and be like, no, this is definitely not happening. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it still has a few weeks to go before it's official. But.
Yeah, it's a long time, so it could easily fall apart. But it makes for interesting speculation, just especially in the wake of so much of like, as we've kind of talked about before, toxic fandom on Twitter, and like there's this idea of like, oh, we want to give people the freedom of speech, and does that mean that we're giving people the freedom of speech, or the people the freedom for hate speech? And because those are the people, like, I mean, Twitter's pretty loose with their stuff. occasionally, like if I post about Metallica's "Kill 'Em All," they're like they flag me for it because the algorithm reads wrong or whatever. But I'm okay with dealing with that. Like overall, if I can just keep the people who are like actually threatening to commit genocide and whatnot. So like that's I'm okay with them not being there. So
absolutely, yeah, I do think that should be moderated. I mean, we'll see. I'm neither here nor there with Elon. There are things he does that I think are weird and I don't quite get, but there are a lot of things that I think are exciting that he does. So this is one of the weird. I put this in the weird category. Like, why do you need Twitter? His Twitter is one of the weirdest. I think the stuff that he tweets, like he thinks he's a comedian or something. It's like, dude, just design rockets, man. Like we don't jokes on here.
Oh my god!
Just design rockets and name your kids after falling asleep on the keyboard. It's fine. It's just do your thing. Just do your thing. So it makes for an interesting topic. But also in reference to doing some. I mean, he has done some interesting things and some good things too. I feel like some of it's a cover up, but. And we'll just have to see. We'll have to see where that is going, and I guess kind of in that nature of seeing where things are going, John, we want to give you some time to talk about where you're going and what you're working on, and give you some plugs here for that. We would love to kind of hear about it, and I know you've got a lot of stuff in the background for your movie Lib.
Yeah,
is that how I say it, or is it LIB?
LIB.
LIB. Okay, good. Good.
It's
Let
funny.
me just screw it up.
I'm glad you said that, because I think there are a lot of people that are like, what is this liberal movie? What is this lib movie?
Oh my god!
It's LIB, but this. So what you can see behind me. This is the teaser poster. So we're kind of doing this slow rollout, like this, unveiling piece by piece what this thing actually is. Just because, I guess, just to take it back to the beginning is that it's a documentary, and we were talking about slice of life type movies, and I feel like it's a slice of life type of film, but just in a really crazy setting, in a festival setting. So the way that it all sort of came about was in 2016, me and a big group of my friends, about 20 of us, went to this festival in California of the same name, Lightning in a Bottle. And it's in sort of Northern California in the hill country. And I had never been before. I'd only been to Coachella. And my friends had been pushing me to go. And so I thought, if I go, I've got to bring my film equipment with me, and just in case, just to see what happens. And I had a couple of other film buddies with me too, who I told, just bring your camera. Let's capture some stuff. And so we did. And I had a crazy, amazing time, met amazing people. Just this diverse, dynamic group of people. And there was just sort of this weird confluence of all these different events that were happening in that one spot, at this festival. I had a best friend with me that was a high school best friend. And I had two other friends who were sort of, they fell in love at this festival. And so we sort of captured these things that were happening organically. And then, for 4 years, it just kind of sat on my hard drive, while I was, writing scripts and trying to get other things made. And I don't know if you've gotten a chance to see the trailer, but the trailer is out there now. And, it for a long time, I didn't know what to do with this footage, because it looks like we're just dancing at this festival. And so you could easily just be like, what is this about, actually? And so I figured out, I think, what the film should be about when 2020 hit, and when all festivals were canceled, and when we were all sort of locked down in quarantine. And so I went about making 19 FaceTime calls to every single one of us that were there. And we sort of went through, those memories together and talked about how we were then compared to how we are now in this sort of new world that we're living in. And that's how the film sort of revealed itself and became what it is. It was never really supposed to be a film, but as I kept talking to people and as I kept sort of assembling it, I thought, I don't know that this is just for my friends anymore. I think this is something maybe more people will be interested in, because we're all talking about sort of how we've been dealing with our mental health issues, how the festival setting gave us a place to sort of hit the reset button, and kind of just figure out who we are as human beings, and that theme of connection that we've been talking about. I think that resonates throughout the film. Is just, it was a place for 20 people to connect in a way we don't get to with technology and phones in our everyday lives. Just connect, be present, don't be distracted, and really love, really share loving moments together, and then reminisce about it on these quarantine FaceTime calls. So that's sort of how the film was born. I've been sort of figuring out what it is as it's been out there. We've been submitting it to film festivals and been getting accepted to film festivals. So yeah, it's crazy to see it out there now. This personal thing of ours, sort of making its own way in the world, and so now we have. I can officially say this: we have a premiere date. We don't have an actual day, but we have a window because we got into a festival in Los Angeles and in New York at around the same time period. So yeah, it'll be making its premiere in June. We'll be talking more about that as that date comes, and people will get to see it and see what all the fuss is about. But yeah, until then, we're raising money on an Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign we just started to just get some finishing funds to get it over the hump. And so that's the phase. That's where we find ourselves now, is just ramping up for these premieres and raising money.
That's amazing. That's awesome. Congratulations on that. It's it's not every movie is a miracle. I had once heard that, and it's fun that you just kind of found your miracle. Like it was like you already had the material.
Right. That's a brilliant point. I think just talking about my other scripts and stuff, I knew I had this amazing footage that I wanted to do something with. But as a filmmaker, you get self-conscious about stuff that's shot on your DSLR and, that's raw. And, you want to get $10 million to finance your indie film and get the best DP in the world and, shoot on film maybe. And this, I just had this weird, I don't know. I put it in a box and I put it away. And the more I looked at it, the more I thought there's nothing really like this, and not to be ashamed of it, and to put it out there, even though, there's some taboo subjects in there. I showed the movie to my parents recently, which was an experience, and they got to know a whole different side of me, and that's, and thankfully the people in the film are doing the same thing. We all sort of share some of our deep, vulnerable, places that we've been over the last 4 years, and it's going to be out there for everyone to see. And I think people will relate to those journeys, those sort of individual heroes' journeys that we were all sort of on. And that was sort of how I sort of found the narrative, was this is a story about us and growth and the times we're living in. So yeah, it was a miracle. It was a miracle because I didn't want to make it, but it kept wanting to be made. It kept wanting to be birthed. And so just reluctantly, just like, okay, I guess I'll work on this thing. And every step of the way, there's been some validation and something that's happened where it needed to be made, and it has finally. So it's exciting.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So yeah, and once again, congratulations getting into a film festival nonetheless, and then across the entire United States. That's incredible. So
yeah, it's really hard. I mean, obviously, I've been in this game a long time. And, I have friends, obviously, who, to get into a festival in LA, because that, LA, New York, I'd love to play in Colorado. I'd love to play in Austin. And those things are all on the table. But it's an honor to play at any film festival, just because, one thing that I thought we had working in our favor was there's nothing else like this film, so a lot of people have really good indie drama or really good indie horror or whatever it is. And it's hard for these festivals to program when they have thousands of similar genre films. And this is like really nothing you can compare it to. I mean, my comps for this when I was doing research was, I love that Firefest documentary. There are a couple of really good Woodstock documentaries. Even Summer of Soul that just came out this year, that was
my God.
Yeah, that was great,
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was really good. And so I felt like, ours is kind of lives in that world, but it's totally different. It's from a different vantage point. It's in the festival, it's as if you could wear a VR headset, you know, and be there. That's sort of the best way I think to describe the film. With the context of 4.5 years later, being in quarantine, all of a sudden,
right,
you know, being in a live music setting and being in a crowd is all of a sudden this weird thing that we're not used to so much anymore. So, yeah, man, I really hope you guys can see it. I hope we can get into a Colorado festival. I'm sure, you know, now that we're starting to get some traction, I'm starting to learn how the festival game works. And once you get traction, you know, things pick up. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've always kind of heard is once you get into a couple of them, if you can get one of the name ones, then it's like other festivals suddenly are like, well, if they did it, then we need to have this one too. So, you know, maybe we can get you into Telluride or something. So they'll get you there. So that's amazing. That's amazing. So congratulations again on it. And I one last kind of question that I have for you, because, you know, I watched a few documentaries here and there as somebody who works as like a film critic on the side and whatnot. I spend a lot of my time watching narrative features and those kinds of things, but I watch a few documentaries here and there. But I do feel like right now it's kind of a booming time for the documentary. I don't know. Is that something that you have found? Is that something that you're hearing or kind of seeing as you're on that?
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I think we are in sort of I wouldn't call it a renaissance or anything. I think that it's a new era we're entering in that we haven't been in with documentaries, just because I think now that we have cameras so easily accessible that more of these moments are being filmed, you know, and so more real life stories are just being able to be told because there's the footage to support it. And, you know, that being sort of in the air definitely made me feel more comfortable about having you know, making a documentary feature. But at the same time, I think we've actually been having a harder time with the solely documentary focused festivals. I think these festivals watch our film and they're like, is this a documentary, you know? And the narrative film festivals, ironically, are the ones that I think we've been getting the best feedback and reviews from. There have been a few documentary film festivals that have really enjoyed the film, but I have a narrative background. I've made documentaries, but I'm heavily into the narrative aesthetic, if you will. So I think that the film, honestly, I mean, I'm still learning what the film is, because as a filmmaker, you know, you think you set your intention, right? And then it's up to the audience, really, I think, to let you know what you actually were able to pull off. But I made it as if I was making a narrative film. I was thinking about it like, this festival setting and this cast of characters, this diverse cast of characters, it's a fantasy film, you know? And so some of those tropes, you know, that you see in fantasy films where you're, or even The Matrix or something, where you're in another world, you know, and it's separate from society and from the reality you're used to. And so the music and the editing, all those things that, you know, I love about narrative film, I sort of infused into this so that it hopefully feels like you're just watching a movie with a story just sort of play out, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'm again glad to hear that all of this is going so well for you, and obviously we will be linking down in the show notes for this episode your Indiegogo and your link to the website and the trailer and everything. We want people to enjoy this. The trailer's really good, by the way. I don't know if you cut the trailer, but that's a really well cut trailer.
I did. I love it.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. Trailers are my favorite to cut. Yeah.
It's incredible. So, well, we are wrapping up now. So thank you so much for joining us, John, and congratulations on LIB. I know on like the IMDb, it's still listed as lightning in a bottle.
It's lightning in a bottle. It is. That's why I said these are the teaser posters. Our posters are going to say lightning in a bottle once the full reveal, you know, happens. But man, I can't believe it flew by that fast. This was so much fun. You're right. It flies by, huh?
It flies by. It flies. It does. Well, thank you so much.
Back at some point, you know.
Oh yeah, we'll have you back for
Definitely.
sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
awesome.
We gotta once you premiere, we'll come back and chat with you about how your premiere went and stuff. Are you going out to any of the festivals to see it?
Yeah. I'll be going, since they're happening like a week apart. I'll probably be in LA and then fly to New York for the Love Wins International Film Festival, which is in Long Island. So yeah, I'll be going back and forth, and I'll try to go to every festival we get into within reason. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, thank you again, John, for joining us. And thank you for everybody who's listening and watching out there. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Steph, for joining us today as we have this discussion. I just wanted to thank everyone out there again for supporting us as we go through this and get this podcast launched. Thank you for the kind people over at Earglue Media for all of your support in getting our voices out there. Thank you to Eric Fossum with Fossum Studios for all of our visuals and guidance on that. Thank you to everyone, including you, John, who works so hard to bring so many nerdy things to us day in and day out. And of course, as always, we bid you a good night as we've turned this nerd mind to sleep. And you guys have a great evening, especially you, John. It is so late for you. You go to bed.
I know.
I could fit in a movie. I could fit in a show or a movie.
See, now you sound like me. Yeah, I can fit in a movie. I know it's 2 a.m. I can do it. I can do it.
Nobody can stop me but me.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. You have a great evening. We'll talk to you soon.
You too. Bye.